All right, look at those DJ skills. I just turned the music down, nice and transitioned. He's getting a little fussy, so hopefully he lasts through this call, or at least until we get Janelle started. He's like perfectly happy, and then right when the call starts, he gets a little fussy. So that's life. I was just sitting here thinking, and I'll tell you a little bit after, but welcome, first of all, to our Thursday night weekly team call. If you've never been on a Zoom video chat with us before, there's a little chat box where you're able to chat or ask a question. Janelle, our guest speaker today, has pretty much something put together for us, but at the end, if you have any questions for me or perhaps for her, if there's time, at least I could take some questions. So know that. And then also, if you've never been on Zoom, there's you can either click on the speaker view or I think it's like the gallery view. The gallery view, you can see everybody's smiling faces. The speaker view, you can see just the person who's speaking. So whichever way you prefer. I want to give a quick reminder that the first week of January, we have Super Saturday coming up. So make sure if you haven't marked your calendar, I want you to grab your phone right now and mark that Saturday for your Super Saturday so that you don't schedule or plan anything for that date. One of the most important things that you can do as a coach is showing up to events. So number one, I consider every team call an event. So give yourselves a hand, a pat on the back for being on this call and at this event. And then also mark your calendar for that Super Saturday. And if you're a new coach and don't know anything about Summit yet, I want you guys to go to, and if somebody could type it for me in the Zoom group chat, could you type www.coachsummit2016.com? If you haven't heard about Summit yet or you haven't committed to Summit yet, I want you to go there and you're going to work with Faith here and you're going to register and get on the wait list. And then you can ask us questions on how you can get there, how you can earn enough money to get there. And we'll work. We've always been able to work as a team and get everybody into rooms. I believe a lot of the success of this team is the ability to get everybody to events. I remember my first Super Saturday, I brought 50 coaches from our local town here in Idaho Falls. We all drove and we carpooled down. But the thing that happened is the next year that grew to 150 and then 300 and then last year 800 coaches. And I believe our team has grown as much as it has because of those events, of Super Saturdays, of summits, and other events. So I also see many of you guys that I'll be seeing at the Team Fit for Life, Jennifer and Michael Greenberg's team retreat in Gatlinburg. I'll be seeing a lot of you guys next week or 2 weeks with this little guy and Gabby. We're excited to come out there to that event. But I am super excited to get to the point now of get as much time as we can out of Jenelle Summers. She's on here. So I will introduce Janelle, but right now, before, I'm going to unmute her real quick so that she can talk afterwards. Okay, so Janelle Summers, one thing that I love about her is she's pretty quiet like I am. You know, she's, I guess you could say, a little bit introverted like I am, but she has an amazing team. I always, when I think of Janelle, I think of like all the amazing leaders you see in Beachbody. Janelle is one of their coaches. They're like their sponsor coach. That's how I look at it. That's how I look at Janelle. She's their coach. So she is first and foremost a mom and a wife. She has 7 years of coaching under her belt so far. So, you know, I only started 4.5 years ago. So she's almost has 2 times more experience in the business than I do. So I'm super excited to be able to learn from her. She's also a 3-time top 10 coach. So she's been in the top 10 3 times. She's been an elite coach 4 times. She was a member of the CAB, which is the Coach Advisory Board. There's coaches that are chosen by Beachbody to be in the CAB and to kind of watch over, protect, and help the network grow, address concerns within Beachbody as a group. And that's called the CAB, the Coach Advisory Board. She was a part of that. This is an amazing accomplishment, and I look up to her for this. And one of the questions I ask myself every day that I've been talking about with my coaches, for those of you that are personally sponsored coaches, one of the 3 questions I ask myself every day is, who did you associate with today in order to grow? So I'm counting Janelle today as that because she has accomplished a lot of things in this business that I'm striving to accomplish with us and this team. She is a 15-star diamond coach in 3 business centers. So you guys understand what that is. For example, our team is a 9-star diamond in one business center and a 9 in the other, basically. So she's 15-star in 3 business centers, and of course in the Millionaires Club as well. But what's even better is that even though we're not a part of her team, she wants to share with us some of her tips and some of her advice. First and foremost, the most important part, her story, and then kind of teach us about the phases of this business. And I'm excited to see the phases of this business because I'm still like halfway into as much time as she's been doing this. So I'm still growing through these phases just like each one of you guys. So that being said, I'm going to be done talking because you guys hear from me enough and let Janelle take it over. So welcome, Janelle.
Wow, that's awesome. Can you hear me okay, Scotty?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for that introduction. And I was really surprised to hear you say that you're also an introvert. I don't think of you as an introvert. You seem so outgoing to me, which is a good thing. I mean, I love outgoing people, but I always feel like I'm so much more shy and introverted than everyone else. But that's good to know that we have that in common. Okay, well, thank you guys for being on the call today. I have to give you props because it is not easy to get on these training calls. I mean, just the fact that you're on this call says that you're serious about this business, and I'm already impressed with you. And I hope that you'll take notes, because if there's one thing that I did right from the very day one that I joined, if there's one thing I did right, believe me, I did a gazillion things wrong, like really wrong. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here today and where I am in the business, is because I failed so many times. And so that just helped me learn. But one of the things I did right is I always was a good student. I wanted to learn everything I possibly could about this business, not for my own success as much as it was for the success, so that my family could have what I wanted my family to have, and so that my team could understand how to work this business. I wanted success for my team, and I knew that if I was going to lead a team, I needed to learn things myself. So one of the things that I've done, and my leaders have done, and I know Scotty does, and I know he teaches you guys to do, is to take notes, and sometimes listening to trainings over and over again, and being able to duplicate that training with your team and in your way. Okay, so I'm going to go over today, what the phases are of this business. And here's why. Because I think with this business, first of all, you get into it and it's hard to visualize. It's hard to understand what to expect. And because of that, sometimes you either have one way or the other. Your expectations are either so high that you're very easily feeling defeated. After a month or 2 months in, you're working really hard, but things aren't happening the way you thought they would happen. You had this vision of diamond in a week, or 6 figures in 2 months, or all these visions, or maybe even that you would have a team built by month 2, and you don't. So you have these expectations in your head, and because you haven't met those expectations, you're feeling defeated. Or on the other end of the spectrum, your expectations are so low of what you could do with this business that you don't even start. And so I think by understanding, getting a picture of what the phases are in this business, and then saying to yourself, okay, what phase am I in? Am I doing the things that I need to do to get to that next phase? And I think it might help you understand if you're stuck maybe in a phase, what you need to do to move forward, what you might be missing. Now, I've just made up these phases, you guys. I just made them up based on all of the experience I have with the diamonds that I've helped develop, and the coaches and the leaders that I've helped develop over the past 7 years. And I've just come to realize that I feel like there are these phases. And so I'm going to talk to you about what they are. I'm also going to talk to you about at what point this business really starts to take off. Because I think that's another thing, is because you're grueling, in this business. And for a lot of you, you may be doing this while you're working full time and being a parent. And so it's really, really tough to find that time to work this business. And so you're thinking, when, you're not in it for the money, but you're still thinking, when is this going to take off? Like when? And I know for myself that even though I loved this business, I had those thoughts. Like I was working my business, and I'll go through my story in a second, but I was working my business on top of a full-time job, on top of working about 50 hours a week and being a mom and being a wife. And on top of all of that, teaching fitness classes too. I was super, super busy and stressed out and getting no sleep. So of course there was a part of me going, okay, is this business ever going to take off? Like, is there some kind of secret I'm missing? Because I remembered, seeing these coaches that were recruiting, 10 to 12 coaches in a month. And I thought, okay, clearly I'm missing something because there's no way that's ever going to happen for me. I was not doing that at that time. Now, of course, now I am, but at the time, it seemed so far-fetched. It seemed so out of my reach. And I thought there had to be a secret. And what I just didn't know is that I hadn't been doing the right things, and I hadn't been doing the right things long enough. And so a lot of you might think you've started your business and you're working away, and you might realize in this call that you really haven't even started yet. You really haven't even started yet. So I hope that this little training helps you get a better feel for where you are and where you need to be and where you're going and how long that's going to take. And I also want you to know that everything in this business is learnable, okay? But you have to have the why for doing this, okay? That's going to be your driving force, because you can be the smartest person, you can be the most popular person, you can be the fittest person, you can be the most, good-looking person. But if you don't learn what you need to learn for this business, and if you don't have a driving force behind it, that thing that makes you get up off the couch and come watch this training, if you don't have something deep within your gut, that fire in your belly that says, I'm going to do this and I'm going to make this work and I'm going to stick to it through all the hard times, through all the skeptics from my family, through all the negativity from my friends, I'm going to push through it. Because I know what I'm doing is going to work. I know what I'm doing is right. I know I love it. I'm going to stick to it. So there's got to be that drive within you. And maybe it's driven because of what you want to do for your family. Maybe it's because you want to get out of debt. Maybe it's because you just feel this need to have a bigger purpose in your life. Whatever it may be, you need to have that why, and you need to have patience, okay? All right, so I just want to start just a little bit about my story, and then I'll get into the meat of the content. So when before I began this business, like I said, I was working full time. I went into human resources management. I went the traditional route of, working in the corporate environment. I've always loved fitness. I've been in fitness, in dance and in sports since I was a little kid. I've always loved fitness and sports and dance. So that's always been a passion of mine. And but I went the traditional route, and I, was working. And when this business came along, Shalene had already partnered up with Beachbody to do Turbo Jam. And so she already, of course, had been working with them and knew they were a reputable company. And I was actually in some of the Turbo Jam videos. I knew they were a reputable company, but I did that with her just by, taking a week off of my work. I used to commute an hour a day into Michigan. I live in Ohio. I used to commute an hour a day into Michigan to work in my human resources management job. And so even though I was very familiar with Beachbody and what they did and believed in them and believed in, obviously, Turbo Jam and their P90X and the things that were out at that time, she talked about this business opportunity, and she said, Janelle, I just heard about this business that Beachbody is doing, and there's these coaches, and they're doing great, and they're able to quit their full-time jobs. So the opportunity had already been going on for like a year and a half by the time that I had heard about it. And when she told me, it just sounded way too good to be true. I've always wanted to do something in fitness full time. Matt and I, my husband and I, we both love fitness. So we had looked into building and opening a gym years ago. We researched it, crunched the numbers, and we thought, okay, awesome. We'll profit nothing for our first year. We might profit like $30,000 our second year. And so basically we will go completely into debt, and we will have to live at the gym, and we will probably hate working out. So it wasn't an option. We didn't have the money to invest in that. We needed both of us to work full-time jobs. So that was not an option for us. So when this came along and Shalene told me about it, my first thought was, I can't do it. I'm already so busy. I work 50 hours a week. I'm I'm barely getting enough sleep as it is. I barely have time to eat healthy. I barely have time to fit in my own workouts. How could I possibly start a business? So I was really like this, just out of fear, out of skepticism. I thought it was all about sales. I thought I don't want to be in sales. I'm an introvert. I'm sure you have to do home parties. I don't want to do home parties. You know, I had all these misconceptions, and so will the people that you guys are talking to. The people that you are talking to, a lot of them are me. Okay. They are busy. They think this business is weird. They don't get it. I didn't get it. I didn't want to have any part of it. When we don't understand something, we fill in the blanks. My sister just taught me this past weekend. When we don't understand something, we fill in the blanks, and it's usually with negatives. And so that's what I did. I didn't understand the business. I didn't understand what she was talking about. It seems like she's always trying to talk me into doing something. She's my older sister. And so I was just like, no, I'm not interested. But there was a part of me that just kept going back to that in my head going, what if this was something that was legit and really, really cool? What if I didn't have to get dressed up every day? What if I could do something in fitness full time? So long story short, I joined, and I had researched it before I actually joined, because once I joined, by the day that I joined, I understood it, you guys. I understood that. My husband and I read that the policies and procedures manual back and forth probably 10 times before I joined. I understood it. And what I loved about it was that this business was not going to be about me. It was not going to be about me having all these sales, making all these sales, or me being the spotlight of attention. It was going to be about me helping others. That was the bottom line for me. When I realized that that's how this business ticks, it's about me helping others, me just being the best person I can be, working on myself, but helping others was going to be what was going to make my business strong. My business would only be as strong as my people. Okay. And even though I'd never been in really a leadership role before, I thought I love to help people. I already knew that. Even as an introvert, even though I'm introverted and I'm reserved, might call me shy, I do love people. I love people. I love helping people. I love lifting other people up. That's what brings me joy. Money doesn't motivate me. Having purpose motivates me. And so when I learned that that's what this business was about, I was like, I am all in. I am all in. Like, you cannot stop me. I will find time. I will lose sleep. I'm all in. And I did. And I kept thinking, wow, what if I was able to quit my full-time job and I could be at home, be a stay-at-home mom? That's something I've always wanted to be. I've always wanted to be one of those moms that could just go work out when she wanted to go work out. She could just go to the school and help out with the Halloween party. I mean, I just wanted to be one of those moms that had the flexibility to do those things. I never had that flexibility. I'm a very, very hard worker. And so in any job that I've ever held, I was always that person that stayed till 7 o'clock at night. And my husband would already be home from his job, and he'd be like, come on, like, close it up. Let's have dinner. And I'd still be at work working, and I'd take work home. That's how I've always been. And I always just wanted to be more present. I wanted to be more present for my husband and for my son. So anyways, I went all in, but I didn't know what I was doing. And right away, though, I started building a team, because I did know that in order to make this business work, you've got to build a team. You've got to train a team. So as soon as I had team members, you guys, I set up a team meeting, and I had no idea what I was going to talk about, because I didn't know anything yet. But I said, you know what? I'm going to schedule it, and I will know something before that day. I think I scheduled it on a Monday, and I scheduled it for a Friday night. And I said, I'm going to learn everything I can between now and Friday, and I'm going to teach them something. I'm going to teach them everything I can figure out before Friday. You guys, that's the mentality you have to have in this business. You can't wait for someone to hand you information. You can't wait for someone to tell you what to do next. You have to have the drive and the excitement and the initiative to attack it. Okay, the stars are not just going to all align perfectly so that this business just starts to take off. In fact, when someone says to me, the business just isn't working for me, red flags go up for me all over the place, because I want to just say, the business won't work for you. You have to work the business. You have to attack it. Okay, it's not just going to work for you. You have to work it. And it's awesome that we do have an upline, and it's amazing that you guys have Scotty, someone who's obviously a major leader in the business, just spoke on the National Wake Up Call, did a fabulous job. I loved that call, all about fear. Loved the whole bear story, loved it. You guys are so lucky that you have someone that knows so much and is here to equip you. Use that. But if at any given time, he's not there for you, he's not there to answer your question, he's got a family, you've got to take the reins. You've got to take the reins. You've got to become a leader. Okay, so I want to I'll kind of skip over, the rest of my story because I want to get to the meat of the content, the phases of this business. So first of all, I want to go through the fact that when you first start this business, if you're brand new on this call or newer, it's normal if your first thought is just overwhelm. There's just so many resources out there. Beachbody's got trainings, Scotty's got trainings, other leaders have trainings. You happen to go on YouTube and all of a sudden you see a training there, and then that leads you to someone's blog, and that blog leads you to someone else's thing, and you're just like, it's insane. It can be insane, okay? So what I need you to do is stop all the distractions, okay? I was just at a coaching conference for the Platinum presenters in Dallas, and my sister spoke at that conference, and she showed a video, and her whole speech, her whole training was about time management and not getting distracted. And so she showed this video called Tabless Thursday, where it's this thought where you actually only have one tab open on your computer. I mean, that whole thought just like freaked me out. I'm like, oh my God, I have 30 tabs open at all times. Anyways, my point is you've got to turn off the Facebook notifications. You've got to put your phone away. You need to get focused on what you need to do. And I know that Scotty has a getting started right process for you guys, and you need to follow that and get focused, because when it's time to work on Beachbody, you cannot be scrolling the news feed. You cannot get lost in someone's wedding photos. You cannot be scrolling Instagram. I'm telling you straight up, that cannot happen, you guys. You don't have time for that. You do not have time. Eat that frog. Do what is first on your to-do list. You better have a to-do list, okay? Do what is first on that to-do list. Do that thing that is most uncomfortable, that thing you know you're going to procrastinate. Do that first, okay? Get that to-do list done first. Then you can play on Instagram and Facebook or YouTube or whatever, but get that stuff done. Okay, so that's number one for those of you that are feeling overwhelmed. And also just know it is normal. We are all overwhelmed when we first join as a coach. Secondly, know to expect some level of awkwardness, okay? There's going to be some awkwardness. When you first join as a coach, there's going to be awkwardness and there's going to be mistakes. That's for everyone. I certainly had it myself. I mean, I was never in a challenge group before I became a coach, so I didn't know what I was, when I first became a coach, I actually did a challenge group. I didn't call it a challenge group. I forget what I called it. I think I called it I don't know. I called it a Biggest Loser group. That's what it was. And I did it locally, and I didn't know what I was doing. And I had them all meet me. And I mean, it was a disaster, you guys. But that's just the thing. Don't think that you need to be prepared for everything before you jump in, okay? I know that's how we were taught in school, and that's how we're taught in a job. Like, don't you dare do that until you know exactly what you're doing. It's not the case with this business. You need to do it, okay? Of course, prepare as much as you can, but don't expect to be ready. Don't expect to be ready before you do something. So when I hear someone say, I want to do a challenge group, but I know I'm not ready yet. Well, guess what? You need to do it anyway, because you will learn more by doing it than you will learn by watching a training. Just actually doing it. Watch the training first, of course, but do it. You just got to start jumping into things and knowing you're going to feel awkward at first. You're going to make some mistakes, but that's where you're going to learn. If you're afraid to make mistakes, you won't be able to move forward. I remember one time in an interview, Carl Deichler asked me a question, and I forget what the question was. I remember my answer, and I said, I have a high tolerance for failure. I have a really high tolerance for failure. And that's because my parents ingrained that in us, in myself and Shalene and our little brother, Bill. And my brother, Bill, owns his own business as well. And my dad just really drilled that into us with every single thing that he threw us into. I was riding a motorcycle like probably before I could ride a bike. And I remember, because my dad used to race motocross, and motorcycles are his life. And I remember just being scared out of my mind about my dad's, he's a go-getter like that. And I remember being scared out of my mind about certain things. And he would say, you're fine. You're fine. And I would fall and I would get hurt. And he'd say, you're fine. He just ingrained it in us that it's okay to mess up, like always, because you won't be able to move forward until you have those falls. You won't be able to move forward until you have those falls. He did the same thing with snow skiing, did the same thing with water skiing, just every single sport, everything we did. He just kept telling us, keep going, do it again, try it differently, do it again. And so that's what I've done with this business, and everything that I've done in my life. I approach it that way, because you're not going to get better until you just keep doing it. Same thing with public speaking. That's something I've always feared, because like I said, I'm an introvert. I don't like to be in front of the camera. I don't like to be on film. But guess what? It's gotten so much easier the more I've done it. I remember the first videos I ever did. My very first video I did for YouTube took me all day. I did so many takes, it took me all day. But that video still to this day brings in new coaches to me, because it still lives on YouTube, and it still brings in new coaches to me. It's awful, in my opinion. It was my first one, but I did it and I got better. The more I do, the better I get. So number 3 with, that first phase, this is all in phase 1, you guys, is that you are learning social media. You're learning how to post effectively. You're learning how to maybe work your like page. You're learning what works on Instagram. So you're learning all these things about social media when you're in phase 1 and you're a newer coach. You're just starting to post more consistently. You're starting to realize when you have time to post. Is it morning, noon, and night? That's ideal. The other thing is, so this is number 5, is you're figuring out, no, I'm sorry, this is number 4. Number 4, you are learning how to connect with people, and you're learning how to build those relationships. For some of you, that comes very, very naturally. Like, no one needs to tell you what to say. For others, it doesn't come naturally, and you need to see scripts. Okay, there are plenty of scripts out there. But what I want you to do is pretend like you're not a coach. Whenever someone says, Janelle, here's a message I just got from someone, what do I say? And I tell them, or I ask them, what would you say if you weren't a coach? Pretend like you're not a coach. What would you say to that person? And my coach will say, well, I actually would probably ask them, do they have, any weights at home? Or I would ask them, do they like working out at home, or do they like working out at the gym? That's what I would say if I wasn't a coach. Well, that's what you'd say even if you are a coach. So sometimes what you have to do is remove the fact that you're building a business and just be in tune with that person's needs. Hear them loud and clear. I have to give you an example. I always give examples of things my mom has said. She's one of my diamond coaches, and she just cracks me up. But she was talking to someone, and she said this woman had said she doesn't like Shakeology. She likes this other kind of a shake. She loves it. It's given her results, blah, blah, blah. And my mom said, Janelle, what do I say? How do I convince her she needs to like Shakeology? And I said, Mom, don't try and convince her to like Shakeology. Hear her loud and clear. She loves her shake. She loves what she's doing. You don't need to try and convince her to love Shakeology. And my mom, she was just like so surprised that I said that. But you really have to listen to what people need and want. And it may not mean that you're going to have a sale out of that. We're not leading with trying to make sales. We are leading with trying to help people. We are consultants. We are coaches. So what we have to do is we have to ask questions, and we have to get very interested and involved in what's their situation, what are their needs, what do they want, and listen very, very closely. And that's why I like social media, because I'll read their message, I'll read it again, and I'll read it again. Sometimes I'll read it 3 times, just because I'm like, the first time I read it, I was trying to insert my own thoughts. And then the second time I'm like, no, but what they're really saying is this. And I need to first congratulate them on that. Okay, so learning to connect with people and build relationships, that's all in phase 1. The 5th thing is figuring out where and how to fit this into your life. You're very busy. When I was working full time, I needed to fit this in very, very early in the morning. and very, very late at night. Okay. And so I was just on a call recently where I was saying that my average hours of sleep was about 4 hours a night when I was building my business while I was working full time. Now, I don't advocate 4 hours a night, 4 hours of sleep per night. I don't promote that. I don't condone it. But the reality is I needed to fit it in. And that's the time where I could find to fit it in because my life was stacked. But what I did start doing right away is start taking things off my plate that I didn't need to be doing, that weren't moving me further in my goals with my business. Okay. So there were a lot of things that I was still, because I'm a people pleaser, there were a lot of things I was still saying yes to that I could temporarily say, you know what, I'm not going to be able to do that this month, or I'm not going to be able to do that this year. I'm working on building this business right now, and I really need that time. I said no to some of the fun things. I said no to some of the trips. I remember there was a fun snowboarding trip I didn't take with my sister because of my business. I really, you guys, I really made some tough decisions and sacrifices. I went from teaching 5 fitness classes a week down to 1. And now I don't teach any. I went down to 1. And that was a very difficult decision. I had people that were like, I joined the gym and I thought you were going to, continue teaching. And I had some people that were like mad at me, but I had to make that decision for me and for my family. And I knew I needed to do that. So there are some things that you are currently doing that you could take off your plate if you really think about your schedule. So figuring out where and how to fit this in every single day if this is important to you. And number 6, you're figuring out how to run and promote a challenge group. Okay. And there's tons of training. Oh my gosh, there's tons of training on that. And I know that Scotty has that down to a T and he's trained you guys on that, but you're still figuring that out. And that's normal in that phase 1. And then the 7th thing in phase 1 is dealing with negative family members and skeptics. They're all around you, right? I know that. Or at least if you don't have that, be so grateful, okay? Because most coaches, myself included, you're dealing with a lot of people around you who are like, why are you doing this? It's never going to amount to anything. The people who are making money are at the top. The only reason Scotty wants you to do well is so that he makes more money. These people are saying these things to you. And if you're letting those incorrect thoughts creep into your head, it can impact you. You have to learn how to work through those and realize that should not be a part of your belief system, because if it is, you won't go far. If you let any of that creep into your belief system, you will not go far. Okay. I had lots of skeptics in my back corner. Fortunately, my husband totally believed in this and believed in me. But I know a lot of you, it might be your spouse who does not believe in this business. And so for that reason, I did make a public YouTube video of the husbands of some very, very successful coaches, some coaches who are making anywhere between $35,000 to, I think it was $60,000 per month. I interviewed the husbands of those coaches and what they thought of this business early on. So that is on my YouTube. I think it's just youtube.com/Janelle Summers. But that was a video, a YouTube training that was just really impactful for some of my coaches, because they had their husbands watch it, or they had their spouse watch it, or their significant other watch it. And that person, that skeptical significant other, was like, I had no idea. Babe, I'm totally behind you now. I get it, so definitely watch that if you need to. Okay, so let's move into phase 2. And let me just say this. Phase 1 that I just went over, typically when you're leaving that phase, you're at least emerald. Because if you've gotten through all of that, you usually have made a decision to become emerald. And you'll hear it over and over that emerald is a decision, okay? You have talked to your spouse and signed up your spouse and your mom or your best friend and said, let's do this, even if it's just about getting them healthy. Now, those first 2 people may not be people that want to really go after the business. That's okay. That's normal, okay? Okay, so let's go into phase 2. Okay, so phase 2, you guys, is, in my opinion, the people that are in phase 2 usually have like 3 to maybe 8 or 10 coaches. Okay, so they're emerald already and they're moving towards diamond. So the first thing in phase 2 is you're being consistent with your challenge groups now. You get it. You're starting to do them monthly. Maybe you're doing a free one every month and one where they would have to make a purchase every month. So you're getting consistent with that. Number 2 is you're starting to build a team. You're starting to learn how to introduce the business and the importance of that. And you've got the belief and confidence behind you to be talking to people about this business, and you are doing follow-ups, because we all know people do not just join the business just because you introduce the idea of it to them. Okay, so if by any chance you're listening to this and you've said, oh, I've talked to people about the business and no one's interested, well, I hope that you have followed up and have follow-up conversations, getting to know them better, building the relationship more. And then in time, the subject comes up again, talking about it again. By the way, I've got a challenge group about to start. Or by the way, we've got a new program that's about to launch and things are going to go nuts in this business. By the way, fitness resolutions are about to hit hard in January. Now's the time to join. So hopefully you're having these follow-up conversations, because let me tell you something. People do not join when you first introduce the idea of the business. So if you're saying to me, you've introduced the business to people, but you have not had those follow-up conversations, then it is normal and totally expected if none of them have joined. Remember, I didn't join when it first was introduced to me. I didn't want to join. I did not. And the majority of you on this call, I can almost guarantee that the first time you heard of this business opportunity, you didn't join. It took time. You had to go through a whole decision process before you decided this was right for you, and you had to understand it more. So also in phase 2 is that you start focusing on personal development. You start understanding, people aren't just saying personal development for the fun of it. It actually has value. It actually is needed for everyone. For everyone. I know you'll hear a lot of the leaders say, and me included, like, I don't think I need it. You need it. Trust me, everyone needs it. It helps so much, especially even just with how to handle so many different personalities, how to handle, you're going to have some failures, how to pick yourself back up, how to handle comparisons, how to handle some of your team members and not understanding what motivates them and what inspires them and what gets them to dig deep. So focusing on personal development in this phase. Number 4 is stepping out and showing to your team that you are a leader. So in phase 2, this is where you hopefully have a team name. You're starting to develop a team culture. You are maybe hosting contests for your team. I just thought of this. I remember Chelsea and Rob Pearson, one of the first things they did with their team was they used to do plank contests, plank challenges. Why not, right? And so they would do it on Google Hangouts, and they would all, I think it was once a week, they would all stare at each other and laugh and talk while they were doing a plank. And it was a contest. So my point is, it gets the team engaged. Okay, so I know some of you that are listening probably have team members who they're not even active. They're not doing anything. They're not opening any of your emails. They're not replying to anything on your Facebook posts, all of that. They're just kind of MIA. One of the reasons that's happening is because they don't feel good about themselves, and they feel guilty, and they feel like they've let you down, and they don't even know where to begin, and they don't even know if they want to begin. Okay, so what you have to do is scoop them up with where this all began, which is with fitness and health and just wellness, right? Scoop them back up with that, okay? Just connecting with them and getting them engaged again with their fitness, okay? So stepping up, again, that was stepping up and showing to your team that you're a leader. Being a leader doesn't mean that you necessarily have to have a weekly team call or that you're a certain rank. That's not what it means. It means that you are someone that has vision. You are someone that has vision, and you believe in the people around you, even if they're just your customers. And you are someone that is taking the initiative. You are someone that is taking risks. You're someone that is sticking your neck out for the others because you care about them. You're the one that's saying, I don't know if this is going to work. You guys stay right there. I'll go first. I'll see if it works, and then I'll teach you. That's how you become a leader. It's not about being a certain rank. It's not about being having a certain number on your team. Okay, so stepping up as a leader, that happens in phase 2, or should be happening. Number 5 is branching out into other social media platforms. So we always say when you're new as a coach, at least I try and train my team to at least master 1 or 2 social media platforms. So maybe it's just Facebook, maybe it's your personal page and a like page. Maybe it's Facebook personal page and Instagram. So I'm like 1 or 2 platforms. But in phase 2, branch out. Maybe it's Periscope, which is awesome. Not very many people there. It's a great place to build a big following, especially if you're someone who likes to be on camera and you have a good speaking voice. The other one is obviously YouTube. Okay, Google, obviously people Googling things, they come across YouTube. I cannot even believe how much Google has helped my business, okay? So start branching out on other social media platforms. Maybe it's Pinterest, okay? Figure out what works for you. Maybe it's blogging. If you love to write, maybe it's blogging. Maybe that's your next step. Okay, so number 6 is understanding your brand and timesing that by 2. Okay, so it kind of happens in phase 2 where you're understanding your brand. Now, whenever we talk about branding, some people, it just kind of goes because they're like, if you're anything like me, you're thinking, well, I don't know what my brand is. I'm just like everyone else. I'm a mom. I'm into fitness. I want to eat healthy. How am I any different than anyone else? That is exactly what I thought. Exactly what I thought. I remember I went to one of Shalene's conferences and Shalene said, part of our homework was to come on the first day writing out what our brand was. And I about panicked because being her little sister, I thought she's going to call on me. She's going to call on me. And I have no idea. My brand is I'm just a mom and I love fitness and I love helping other people. And I'm no different than anyone else. I don't have a brand. That was my thought exactly. And so what I've come to learn now that I've done this for years is that your brand is just everything that you are, okay? So it's not like you need to make a decision that it's going to be this or that. It's everything that you really are and aspire to be already. So you already have a brand within you, okay? You just need to kind of refine it and unveil it, okay? And make it more polished, okay? So that you can start attracting like-minded people. So you already have a certain personality. You already have a certain style. You already have a certain philosophy about things. You already have a certain approach to fitness, and you already have a certain approach to well-being. So you already have these things right now. Your brand is there, okay? You have to do some self-discovery. You have to figure out what it is that people like about you, what it is that people come to you for, what it is that people look to you, what are people inspired by. All those things, you have to do that, and that's a little bit of self-discovery. And let me tell you, one of the best ways to figure all of that out is by posting on social media consistently. I did not get that stuff figured out until I started posting and I started hearing feedback from people saying, Janelle, I really like it when you post your food pictures. I was blown away by that. I never in a million years would have thought my food pictures would be something that people would be interested in. I never in a million years would have thought anyone would be interested in what I eat, but they were. So I had to start listening to what people wanted to know. And that's how you start figuring out what your brand is and what it is that attracts people to you. You have to figure that out in phase 2. And the other thing is, and this kind of goes along with that, the last thing in phase 2 is you have to start attraction marketing. Okay, because when you're in phase 1 and you're newer as a coach, you're connecting with people that you already know and people you've known for years and the people on that list of everyone you know. I always tell my coaches when they start, in fact, in my new coach training, they all have to send me a screenshot of everyone they know. I'm not going to read it. And I tell them that. I just need to know they made that list of everyone they know, because you're going to be connecting with people that you know and people you haven't talked to in years and people that you used to go to school with and people you used to work with. You're going to be connecting with them. And you're in that phase 1 where you're finding. You are finding the like-minded people. You're finding the people who are on the same page as you. They're not necessarily doing fitness workouts right now, but they're on the same page as you in terms of they're a positive thinker, they're a go-getter, they want more in life, they want more for themselves, they want more for others. They're on the same page in that way, and you're connecting and finding those good people. That's all you're looking for, is good people. You're not looking for rock star coaches. You're looking for good people, okay? In phase 2, you've got to start attraction marketing. So those same kind of people that you were finding in phase 1, you want to start attracting them now. And this is a beautiful thing, because in time, this is going to save you time. because it is tedious to try and find who are these people that are like-minded. When you really start mastering your attraction marketing, they start coming to you. It's amazing. And I absolutely love it when my coaches start getting to that phase where the attraction marketing starts kicking in. Let me switch my notes, because that phase is phase 3, where the attraction marketing starts kicking in, and my coaches will come to me and be like, she said she found me on Instagram, or I went to the grocery store and this woman stopped me and she said, I follow you on Instagram, or I follow you on Facebook, or I know who you are. And they're just like shocked that this attraction marketing is working. People are coming into them. They're messaging them about the business opportunity. They're messaging them about, are you doing another challenge group soon? That is such a great feeling. I didn't have that for a long time. You have to get through those phases and you will get that, okay? But you have to be consistent on social media. Your messaging has to be consistent. Otherwise, that attraction marketing doesn't take off. So in phase 3, that is where the attraction marketing kicks in, okay? Now, phase 3 is really where you're about, I would say, somewhere in between 1 star and like 3 star. Okay, so some of you who are maybe stuck at just before diamond, or you're stuck at diamond, or you're stuck at 1 star, okay? Let me just say, personally, I think that is one of the biggest sticking points in your business. It's a tough spot. And one of the reasons that I feel like that's a tough spot in your business is because you have to hurdle over this whole skill of becoming a leader and also attraction marketing. Those are usually 2 really big sticking points. When people are stuck at diamond or stuck at 1 star, it's usually that their attraction marketing isn't quite kicking in yet. They haven't been consistent enough, or their content's not been polished enough, or their content's not been valuable enough. So the attraction marketing isn't kicking in. And because of that, their network is not building big enough. And because their network is not building big enough, they can't introduce a business to enough people. And because they can't introduce a business to enough people, they can't build their team out more. And because they can't build their team out more, they can't develop more diamonds. You see how that all flows? So that's why, in my opinion, there's a sticking point right there. So attraction marketing is a big piece of getting beyond that. Whenever I look at my 2 stars, my 3 stars, my 5 stars and above, I'm like, yeah, they get it. Like, I can go to their Instagram, their Facebook, their YouTube. They're on it. They get it. They have positioned themselves as a leader. They position themselves as someone who is credible, as someone who is not taking this business as a hobby. They're serious about it. You can tell by their profile picture. You can tell by their other pictures. You can tell by the content they're posting that they're doing personal development. There's all these little clues in there, and that is making their attraction marketing kick in. So the second thing is that there's less emphasis for them on sales. There's more emphasis on just being in tune with what is going to inspire people into fitness and health, building that network out, attracting people, and building a team. That's where their emphasis and their focus is. They're not getting all caught up in who didn't or didn't buy a challenge pack. They're just not. It's not big on their radar. They're seeing the bigger picture of things, okay? And the third thing is that they are creating duplicatable systems for their whole organization. They're thinking organization-wide now. I remember when I first started to realize that I can't just be working with my personally sponsored coaches. Like, they have coaches who have coaches who have coaches now. And I need to make sure that my training is getting through to those people who I'm not in touch with on a regular basis. And so that's when I developed a training site. But lots of people have done very simple things, like even on YouTube, have a series of training videos. I mean, there's lots of things you can do, just even training documents within your Facebook group, lots of things you can do that cost absolutely nothing to have training in place and duplicatable systems for your whole entire organization. So that when your coaches come to you and say, I don't know what to tell my new coach about preferred placement, or you have something you can point them to right away. And that coach who's, way down from you has something to to point their new coaches to. Okay, so you have these duplicatable systems, and that's how your organization starts to grow and grow and grow. You go from having, 3 or 4 of your own coaches to an organization of 50, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I've got 100 now, and it just starts to grow exponentially, you guys. And if you have any clue about the team bonus is what grows exponentially, because your team grows exponentially, and that's where your income grows exponentially. If you've ever listened to any of the leaders on any of these calls, usually Jeff Hill points out that their income has grown like 200% and 500%. How does that happen? Not because they're selling 200% more challenge packs or anything like that. Their teams are growing in exponential numbers. Okay, it's so cool when that happens, but it doesn't happen if you don't get some of those systems in place. The trainings for those things are already out there. Copy and paste is your best friend. When I was working full-time and had so little time, my time on Beachbody had to be so focused. And so copy and paste, I was just telling Scotty, copy and paste, such a good friend of mine. What I did is every time one of my coaches had a question, I took it from the email, copied and pasted it into a document immediately. I started doing this from the very first day I became a coach, and the very first time I had coaches asking me questions. I didn't know the answers, but I knew if they had that question, other people were going to have that question, and I needed to find out the answer. So I copied and pasted everything, and I actually made what I call the coach reference manual from all of those questions. Now I've put it in other trainings, but when I started off, that's what I had. And that was actually became a recruiting tool for me in the beginning, because I started to say, when you join my team, you will get a coach reference manual. People were like, oh, wow, a manual. I didn't know anything anyone else knew. I wasn't any better than anyone else. I simply made use of copy and paste. I would find the answer once the question was asked. It was that simple. You can copy and paste your favorite trainings into a training and call it, your boot camp to Emerald, your boot camp to Diamond, whatever. Think outside the box and take the initiative to do those things. So number 4 is investing in your business. Okay, I have been to Brian Tracy events. I've been obviously to a ton of Shalene's events. You have to reinvest in your business. As soon as I started making money in my business, which of course took time, believe me, I was not making money at first. But once I did, I reinvested in personal development trainings. And you might think, oh, but you got Shalene's trainings for free. I could have gotten Shalene's trainings for free, but I paid for them. I hate having things handed to me. I hate it. And Shalene knows that too. She'd always be like, please, you're my sister. No, I want to pay for it because I know I'll value it more. And my husband would be like, come on, it's your sister. No, I want to pay for it. So I reinvested money I was making back into personal development because it was that important to me, and because I know that works. Okay, you need that personal development. Investing in ads on Facebook, I invested in an iPhone, so I upgraded to an iPhone when I didn't have an upgrade available. I think it cost me like $600, but I knew that the apps I needed and the way I needed to work, I needed an iPhone. I put money towards team rewards and team recognition and team tanks, stuff like that. I'm not saying you have to spend a whole lot of money. There's lots of ways that you can do things very, very inexpensively. Fortunately, my husband is a finance guy, and so he would kind of like help me like calm it down a little bit on what I wanted to spend on my team and things like that. But you do have to invest time and something into your business, okay, in order to get more back. You do have to, this is number 5, listen to this, star it, highlight it, circle it. You have to be introducing the business to at least 5 people a week in this phase 3, okay? So if you're like almost diamond, 1 star, 2 star, somewhere in there, I hope you're introducing this business opportunity to a minimum, don't shoot for minimums, of 5 people per week, 5 different people every week. And you have to track who those people are. If you've been a coach for some time now, you should have a list of everyone you've ever introduced the business to. Whenever I have a coach that says to me, Janelle, I'm kind of stuck. I've been, doing all the critical core activities and I'm kind of stuck. And I'll say, okay, right now, text me a picture of everyone you've introduced the business to over the last 2 months. And sometimes they cannot do that because they literally have not been tracking that. or they haven't been introducing the business. So you have to do that, and you have to track it regardless of their response. Because what if you introduced the business to me and I responded to you the same way I responded to my sister? I'm not interested. I'm way too busy. I don't have time for that. I'm not the right personality for that. What if I had said all of those things to you? Would you have crossed me off the list? I know a lot of people who would have crossed me off the list. They would not have followed up with me. But look at me now, right? I just didn't understand it. I had some preconceived notions there. If you were talking to me, I hope that you would have kept talking to me, get to know me a little bit more, and then start breaking down my walls that I had put up, my preconceived notions that were there, that shouldn't have been there, but they were there. And they realistically are there for the people that you're talking to. And you're crossing them off your list. When I have coaches say to me, oh yeah, I'll show you my list, but you're going to see a lot of people crossed off. And I'll say, why? Why are they crossed off? And they'll say, because they said no. I'm like, they said no to what? Because all you should be doing is saying to them, have you ever considered this? Are they just saying, no, I've never considered it? And you're stopping there? They're saying, no, they don't want to do this. I'm like, well, you don't cross them off the list unless you realize that they're just not a good person and you don't want to associate with them anymore. Then you can cross them off the list. Or they've passed away, you can cross them off the list. Other than that, you do not cross them off the list, okay? If you see in them that they have something that could benefit them, if this business could benefit them in some specific way that you know of, then don't cross them off the list, because that means you have an opportunity to help them and change their life. If you recognize this business would help them in some way, don't give up on that. You have an opportunity to change their life, okay? By crossing them off the list, you have let them down, in my opinion. Okay, so number 6 is you need to be adding a minimum of 4 to 6 coaches a month, in my opinion. If you're in phase 3, almost diamond, 1 star, you better be adding at least 4 to 6 coaches per month. That is not easy, but it is necessary. It is necessary. And you can do it. If you are introducing the business to that many people and you are following up and you are being disciplined in your business and you are being a product of the product and you are being empathetic when you talk to people and in tune with them, you will have 4 to 6 coaches added to your team per month. And lastly, number 7 for phase 3 is you need to have a system in place for getting your coaches started right. Okay, always have a what's next. So here's what they get at first, here's what they should do next, here's what they should do next. And then once they hit Emerald, here's what they do next. And then they have this, maybe it's a push to diamond group or a diamond bound group or a boot camp to diamond, and maybe it's a leadership training. Always have a what's next, so that when people are considering joining you, you can say, oh yeah, well, here's my process. Believe me, I won't leave you hanging, because here's my process. And you can take this process as slow or as fast as you want. It's your business and there's nothing you can do to negatively impact me. That gives people the assurance they want to hear, because they're afraid they're going to let you down. That's a big reason why they say they're not interested. They're afraid they're going to let you down. So give them the assurance they're not going to let you down. It's their business. Okay, phase 4, and this will be my last phase. Oh boy, I'm almost running out of time. Sorry, I'll try and speed it up. Okay, so there should be a heavy emphasis on team training at this point. That's number 1, heavy emphasis on team training. My phone is telling me I've got 10% left, so I better speed it up. Number 2, by this phase 4, you should be a transformed person. Like, people should be like, wow, you have so much more confidence now. You hold yourself differently. You're a leader now, and you have leaders under you. That's where you are in phase 4. You're a leader and you have leaders under you. You're giving them vision, and they are giving their teams vision, okay? So usually phase 4 is where you are above 3-star usually. You've got diamonds, you've got leaders, you've got leaders who are popping, you've got diamonds who are about to pop. That's where usually you are in this phase 4. You're now number 3 in phase 4. The third thing is that you're mastering your public speaking skills, your presentation skills, your ability to train others. You're mastering those skills, and maybe even taking public speaking courses, because you need to be able to present information. Something I've been working on since day 1. And then number 4 is that you're really dialing into your niche and your branding. Number 5 is you're making 6 figures or 7 figures now. So you have more free time. That's number 6, is you have more free time. And number 7 is, at this point, you're able to retire from your full-time job and maybe even retire your spouse from their full-time job, which is an amazing thing. That was one of my biggest goals, was to be able to retire my husband from his full-time job. I did not want him having to commute to work every day and the dangerous traffic and all of that. You get there and you have, like I said, you have more free time. So that's a beautiful thing about this business. You finally get to this point where you're like, I can do what I want to do. Doesn't everyone at their core want that? And to think that in this business, if you work really consistently, you can get to phase 4 in 3 years. I mean, maybe some people get there faster, but I would say realistically, I mean, 3 years is definitely possible, where you're making at least $2,000 a week. Now, of course, the Beachbody disclaimer is Beachbody doesn't guarantee any level of rank or income or whatever. That's true, of course. You have to work it. But in phase 4, that's where you are. And so I just want you to realize that in all these previous phases where you're like, is there any light at the end of the tunnel? Like, am I just going to get busier and have more responsibility? And no. Because you're going to get more effective. You're going to have more systems. You're going to have leaders, and your income is going to grow even though you're actually doing less work because you're more effective now. You have more systems in place now. You're doing less work and you're making a gazillion times more. And now you've got leaders and they're doing the same process and they're going to be where you are or maybe even further. So it's a really cool, beautiful thing. I can't think of a business that lays it out better and that works more awesome than this. So when does it really start to take off? It really all starts to take off at 2-star. Okay. That's where you get to open up your second business center. That's where the income really starts to take off, in my opinion, is 2-star. So I know we always think of getting to diamond, and you do have to get to diamond, but 2-star is where it really starts to take off. So a lot of coaches make their spouse a diamond, and then they usually have one other coach maybe that is willing and motivated. That's how it was for me. Okay. I had my diamond, that was my husband, and I had one other coach that was willing and motivated to be diamond. And that's how I got to 2-star. Opened up my second business center and started building that. And so multiple business centers, if you never hear this again, I know you've heard this, but multiple business centers is where the income really starts to grow exponentially. It's not about getting to the higher ranks. That'll end up happening because you will have already built a team there and you're moving on to the next one. And those people are still developing into leaders. Okay. But you're adding to your new business center, and that business center is helping the first business center, and the third business center is helping the second business center. It's helping with your rank, and it's like double adding to the first business center's income. Okay. It's crazy awesome. I can't even believe it's allowed. I've said before, I thought it would be illegal. When I heard of it, I was like, how is this even legal? Because I mean, I'm doing everything I do is benefiting me twice. It's awesome. So multiple business centers is the way to go. You got to get to 2-star diamonds. You can open up that second business center. Okay. So let me see if there was anything else. The last thing I wanted to say is that what drives all of this, of course, what drives all of this are the 3 vital behaviors, plus the why that you have deep within, okay, that fire in your gut, plus consistency, plus empathy for others. That's what drives all of this. And I have done a critical core activities training, and I will hand it over to Scotty. I'm going to actually redo the training, and I'll give it to you guys so that you can see how I break down the 3 vital behaviors into like 10 critical activities, which I think has helped a lot of new coaches. It's my required training of all new coaches. But that is really what drives all of this. It's the 3 vital behaviors. You have to be a product of the product. Don't be missing that. You've got to be showing progress. You have to. Doesn't mean you have to be a certain body type. Doesn't mean you have to look like a fitness model. It means you have to show that what we do works in some way, shape, or form. It makes you stronger. It makes you able to do more push-ups. It makes you have more energy. It makes you feel more confident. You have to be a product of the product. You have to be inviting. You have to be doing personal development. You have to have your why. You have to have consistency, and you have to have empathy for others and want to see them succeed. So with that, that's all I've got. Any questions?
Awesome, Janelle. Thank you. And I know your phone's probably at like 5% now.
I think I'm at 8%.
Awesome. Well, yeah, we're 5 minutes over the hour. I head over to the studio with the band after this call every Thursday night. So I just want to say thank you for this amazing team call. But let's take one question. If whoever's going to be the brave one to take the first, make a question. let's just raise your hand. You got to like raise your hand or put it in the chat and I can unmute you. Does anybody have a question off the top of your head? And I'll just watch the chat. And if I don't see anything, I will close her out. So awesome. Janelle, I will follow up with you about that critical activities video. We'll obviously give you some time you're going to revamp that. So I'll follow up in a week or two on that. But we want to say thank you for giving your time to us, because we know that your top priority is your family, being a spouse and a mother. So thank you for giving us your time tonight, because we know that's something that you can't ever get back. And I know I personally am going to use what I learned. I have 4 pages of notes on this big notebook here. So yes, and I had some great ideas I learned from you that I need to start implementing as well. And then also thinking about one thing you said, and just to share with those of you on this call that aren't my personally sponsored coaches. So in my new coach training group, we do a Zoom chat for our Coach Basics every Tuesday with my new coaches. And they started talking about a coach sneak peek, a 3-day or 5-day. And to be honest, I've never done one. In 4.5 years, I've never done a coach sneak peek. So when Janelle's saying in that first phase or the second phase of talking about, you just have to decide and then you learn everything you can and you do it. So we set our first coach sneak peek for Monday through Friday. And I had my assistant grab me some info on someone else's coach sneak peek. Tomorrow I have 2 hours blocked out to make my own videos and gather some other videos from other coaches on our team that have to do with what this outline is, and we're going to do it. So that's what Janelle was saying. You just figure it out and you do it, and then we'll figure out what went wrong, what went good, and we'll revise it. And my plan is to make that in as a monthly thing to do going here on out. And Janelle, before I let you go, I saw Caitlin raised her hand. I'm going to it's kind of funny, raise your hand. I've never seen that on Zoom. So I'm going to unmute her and let her ask one question before we let you go.
Sure, yeah.
Caitlin.
Hey, Janelle. Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much for talking to us. I've had a quick question. I know you said about like the why really driving you through the tough times, but I've noticed some coaches that they have their why, and it could be a really strong one, like wanting to support their family. In that 2 months of initial defeat that you talked about, when they're not seeing immediate results, their why sometimes seems to actually drive them away from the business, where they seem to think, oh, if I have to do this for my family, maybe I should look for something else that would be a faster start. Do you have any thoughts on what to say to coaches that may be thinking that way?
Okay, so you're saying they want to do this for their family, but they're thinking that they might want to do something that has a faster start? Is that what you're saying?
Almost when they don't see an initial financial gain, they tend to want to jump ship. So their why is still strong,
but
they're maybe not willing to believe that they will actually get to a point to make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's all a part of giving them vision and giving them expectations. And actually that really begins before they join. I make sure, and I just spoke on this in Dallas at the conference about getting coaches started right. And I said, you guys, I can't even talk to you about getting coaches started right until I talk to you about what you need to tell them before they start. Because that's where you need to set the expectations, the realistic expectations of what this is going to entail and how long it's going to take and what it's going to be about, but the big picture of what it's going to provide them in the long run. Because if they are able to see other success stories, other coaches, I mean, I usually point coach prospects to other people that have had success, and I give them examples, because usually they're looking at me going, yeah, but you're Shalene's sister, so they don't really believe it. So I have to point them to other people and really, like I said, keep giving them those realistic expectations, because you don't want them to start and have the expectation of, okay, if I work hard, this should start bringing in some money within a month or 2 months, because it's not going to happen. I mean, realistically, not any significant amount of money in the first couple of months.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. That helps a lot.
Yep.
Awesome. And I'll tie on to that as we close it out, Caitlin, and to tie on to what Janelle said. My most, for example, I show my coaches that most of my prospects come from my blog and my YouTube combined. And the majority of them, they actually find my video called Sacrifices to Make Beachbody a Full-Time Income, where I talk about how hard this is.
Yes.
I talk about how many hours I had to work, how many things I had to give up,
Yep.
how hard it was to be away from my wife. And then, and then at the end I tie in, like, if you could just experience like 3 weeks of this life, now that we've been able to come home and bring my wife home and do this full time, you would make all those sacrifices. So to tie into what Caitlin's saying, that most of my coaches are seeing that before they sign up. But I have a little checklist of I think it's 15 things that I have a coach do in their first week. And so if they haven't seen that, they're watching that sacrifices video in their first week as a coach. So it's like Janelle says, setting the standard of like, this is going to be hard. I remember my cousin coming over to be a coach, and it would almost, if you were from the outside, it would seem like you'd be like, what is he doing? Because I was telling him, dude, this is so hard. Like, it's rewarding, yes, but I want to make sure, this is going to be really hard for you. Like, you can do it, but it's hard. So it's just setting that bar and that standard. So awesome. Thanks, Caitlin, for that question. And then also thanks again, Janelle. And I'm excited to be talking to your coaches in the next week. And this call was recorded, so I will post it up in our team page. It'll also be on my YouTube channel. So thanks, everybody, for hopping on tonight. And we'll see you next Thursday. Nope, next Thursday is Thanksgiving. We'll not have a team call next Thursday. So we'll see you 2 weeks from Thursday.
Thanks, guys, for having me. Bye-bye. Thank you.